Hi, my name is Juliana and I'm DevRel at NodeOps. Today we're going to be talking about a tool that you've probably heard of, and it is called n8n. Most people use it for AI agent. You've probably heard of it for no-code AI agent building, automating workflows. So today we're going to show you how to run n8n and build it with NodeOps. First thing most people do is to hook it up with Google, which may be the most complicated part. So let's get you started with the basics today. Okay, so welcome to my desktop. We are on cloud.nodeops.network and I'm signed in. Now we're going to deploy an n8n template. After signing in, go up to Template Marketplace and type in n8n and click on Deploy. In this screen, I normally go with my preferences because I've already set it to deploy on the servers that I want to. But if this is your first time, I would just click Auto Assign. And what it does is it chooses the server that is most empty and fastest for you. If you have a preference, go with your preferences. If you don't, go with Auto Assign. I'll click Continue. Now we're at Resource Configuration. I normally don't mess with these values. They've been preset by the deployer and it looks good to me. All right, and now we're at the final deploy page. If you have a promo code, go ahead and put that in now. I don't, so I'm just gonna go click deploy. Okay, so it's pretty easy. Once it's deployed, it's gonna turn green on the upper left here, and then we can click into it and get into our endpoint, and then we'll see you in the GUI there. Okay, so that was really easy. Now it's deploying, it's on the upper left. When it's ready, it'll turn green, and then we can click into it. Okay, so now it's deployed. This is the deployment details page where you can see logs. I'm gonna click endpoints here, and this will take me to my instance of n8n. If it's your first time, you're gonna have to go through the setup. I'm gonna quickly go through this. Okay, and now we're in. Right off the bat, n8n gives us an example AI agent setup. And if we click into it, there's gonna be a preset configuration on a very simple chat agent. Starting from left to right, this is a simple start on how to create a chatbot. First, there's the trigger. So when a chat message received, what happens next? Then there is an agent holder, and the agent is made out of three very simple things. It is the chat model, which is the LLM, and then there is a memory, which has not been configured yet, and a tool, optional. After a message is received, we can choose to extend this further with the plus sign here. So let's go through the configuration, starting with a chat. So I clicked open chat, and now I'm going to type in something. So what happened here is that we got an error that OpenAI does not have the credentials. Ooh, I don't think you can see the error message. Let me move my head there. And all that requires is for us to open it up and then insert our credentials. If you don't have OpenAI, you can swap this for something else. You can click out here and click the plus sign over here and then type in, let's say I have Grok. Then I would just drag and drop this model and then set up the credentials here. Then I would attach it to the chat model here. And see how it's not attached and it's just free floating? It means it's not being used in the loop here. So let me get rid of it and go back to setting up my OpenAI model. So I clicked it with OpenNode, but you can also go through it by double clicking on OpenAI on the model itself. I'm coming up to the dropdown and selecting create new credentials. And I'm gonna paste my OpenAPI key. Okay, there it is. Okay, and I think that's all we need. I'm clicking save. It looks like that didn't work. Let me try swapping out for Anthropic. I'm pretty sure Anthropic is valid. So I'm typing Anthropic and clicking on Anthropic chat model and then selecting create credentials just like last time. And I think this API key should work. All right, no, that didn't work either. Oh, okay, that was successful. And I'm clicking save. And now I have my OpenAI credentials. Let me X out of this and X out of this. And I'll stick with the default here and then X out of this as well. Okay, so we're all set. Now let's try and run up another message. Okay, so we're getting something back. Looks like we're being welcomed to, it responded with welcome to n8n, and let's start by adding memory. So we're good, we got through the step. Take a look at this over here, the input and the output. So the input is what it knows it is and then what it received. If you read this, there's a logical order of how this model is thinking and processing what it's been given to give you your output. And you can come and take a look at how it's been programmed to respond to you. So this is the output. This is telling me to set the memory. But if you ever want to kind of like mess with how the agent is thinking, you can double click into the agent module and then come in here and mess with this prompt and over here too. So you can also give it a different type of agent. These are kind of pre-programmed, you know, a tools agent, conversational, or etc. n8n has a few of these. And then you can come in and fine tune it with these pieces. So let's go back to memory. Okay, to add memory, memory is kind of like, right now without memory, it's just a one-time response. So you can say something, it will respond to you, and it doesn't remember what you said before. It doesn't remember who you are at all. So there's no context here. Giving it memory gives it gives it persistence and a type of database. So to add memory, we're going to click the plus sign, and then we're going to select simple memory. Simple memory is the quickest way to do it. This is all local. And if you want something persistent, you would choose something a little bit more permanent here. So I'm going to click simple memory. Okay. And I'm going to keep everything as is. And then I'm going to click out of it. And now I'm going to say something once again. Great. So I told it that I did it. And the agent received what I've said and then has responded with click the plus button and choose Google Calendar. So I'm going to go ahead and click the plus button. And over here, there are a ton of tools. I think n8n did a great job with like how configurable everything is. It's kind of incredible. Before I click Google Calendar, let me just scroll through how extensive this list is. So right off the bat, like they recommend you can type in like pure JavaScript or Python. So you can receive a response, process it in the memory, and then with the response, you can do something with it. It can trigger something afterwards. So you can do pure code, you can make it HTTP requests, or you can do a number of things. You can do you can plug in a vector store, and under other tools, this list goes on and on and on. I mean, I'm gonna scroll really quickly through it. Like we're only on the L. So pretty much any tool you can think of, you can probably plug and play, whatever this is. The most popular tool I've seen use are Google tools. So Google would be something you can use. There's chat, docs, drive, sheets, slides, calendar, contacts, translation, you know. This is a really useful tool. Like with just Google alone, you'll be able to do automate so much business tasks. So enough yapping, let's click on calendar. Cool. And now I'm gonna need to create credentials. This is the tricky bit. Being able to set up Google OAuth takes a little bit. Let's put a pin on it here and then hop over to Google and set up the service account, because I think this will be very helpful for you. Once you know how to set it up once, you'll be able to unlock all of these other Google features. I think n8n does a really good job by offering docs. I just clicked on open docs and it kind of guides you on how to set it up. In my opinion, reading is great, doing it is even better. So let me show you. Okay, now welcome to the portion where we set up a Google service account. First, we're going to go to console.cloud.google.com/API/library. And then we're going to go to the top left and select projects. And then we're going to create a new project. Here, I'm going to give it the name n8n, and then I'm going to click create. Now we're going to search for the APIs that we need to enable for our service account. The tutorial asked for Google Calendar. So I typed it in, hit enter, and it's the first one. Then I'm clicking into it and I'm clicking, first let me select a project. I'm selecting n8n. In Google Calendar API, I'm going to enable it. Cool. And while we're at it, I'm going to enable a couple of more Google tools because I think it may be useful in the future. So I'm also going to do Google Sheets, hitting enable. And then I'm also going to do Google Docs. And I think that pretty much covers most of what I want. Okay, looks good. Next, we're going to go to the OAuth screen. So we have to go into OAuth consent screen and we have to click get started. And then I'm going to give it an app name. Since we're just testing here, I'm just going to stick to internal. I'm not expecting to share this project with other people. And then under audience, I'm selecting external because this is like my personal account. I'm not working in a workspace. If I was in a workspace, I would select internal so it's shared amongst me, my workspace, but I'm not. So I'm just selecting external. And then I'm clicking next and my email address and hitting next, create, and click create. Okay, now that we're here on this page, I'm going to create an OAuth client. Okay, and on the left, I'm going to click branding. Under authorized domain, I'm going to add the domain of my n8n instance. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to copy this URL and paste here. Let me make that larger so you can see what I'm doing here. So it didn't accept this URL. If I remove the HTTPS, it says must be a top private domain. So it's not letting me use anything with subdomains like this URL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this and that will work. I'm okay with this, and now I'm going to click save. Let me zoom back out. Okay, now we're all done here. Now we're gonna go into API services. Now we're ready to create our credentials. I'm gonna go into API and services. And then on the left, I'm clicking on credentials. I'm gonna click create credentials and go to OAuth client ID. And I'm selecting from here web application. Then I'll give it a name and then I'm gonna click create. After name, I'm gonna scroll down to add a URI and come down here to add a URI. And to get this value, I'm gonna go back to n8n. On this page, I'm gonna copy and paste this URL over here. I clicked it to copy, then I'm switching back to Google. Coming back here to authorize URI and I'm gonna paste. All right, that looks good. And now I'm gonna click create all the way at the bottom. Oh, that kind of went too fast. Your project is all set up with the client ID now. Now you're all set up. We're done generating the client ID and client secret. Anyway, now we're all set up with the client ID. To get client ID, you copy this value here. I'm gonna click copy, go back to n8n and paste it here. And then for the secret, I'm coming back into API keys and then clicking into my project. And then on the bottom right, you should see a secret here. I'm copying it and then going back here and pasting it. All right, now I'm gonna hit save. And then I'm gonna click sign in with Google. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is that when you're under the branding page, make sure you add your email addresses under here. I switched you over to my full screen so I can show you what the sign in process for Google looks like. So I click sign in and it's popping up over here. And I'm gonna select whichever email that you have authorized. One thing maybe we didn't go over, if you go under Google Cloud and come down to API services and come down to OAuth consent screen and then come down to audience, under test users, make sure you add yourself as a test user. For some reason, you just kind of get blocked if you are not. That's my experience. Okay, coming back to n8n, I am authorizing myself as a user. And you may get this message, but you can go ahead and click continue anyway. I'm gonna allow all. Under authorize redirect URL, we actually don't want to keep it localhost. We want it to be the URL of our actual, where the instance of our actual application. So I'm gonna go back to n8n. I'm copying my entire URL and I'm pasting it right here, okay? Deleting this extra slash, okay? And that's my entire URL plus the rear end of the OAuth callback. So that all looks good. I'm clicking save. Great, now we can get it, go back. All right, now I'm gonna go X out of this and then go back to hit close. And we're gonna try executing the step from here. Double clicking into it. Let's test it out by hitting execute step. Oh, it looks like, okay, I see where I went wrong. All right, I think I gotta do a drop down. All right, I've pasted the client ID and the client secret and I'm clicking save. Then from here, I'm gonna click on sign in with Google and I've got a pop-up on the right side and I'm gonna select the user I've set as the test user. I haven't set this account as a user, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna click up to branding. I'm gonna come back here and go to API and services, then go to OAuth consent screen, and then under audience, I'm going to add a test user and then paste my email address and click save. All right, now that I'm saved, I'm gonna go ahead and sign in again. All right, I've got the pop-up, selecting the same email from before, and this time I'm gonna hit continue, and then I'm gonna select all and click continue. All right, once you hit this, don't be scared. That's because we redirected it. We've set the redirect URL to a local host, which is obviously going to fail. The way to get around this is to copy this URL and then come into here in your browser, hit paste, and then we're gonna edit localhost at the front to point to the instance of where your n8n is. So I'm gonna come back into here. I'm gonna copy just this bit of the URL, copy, come back here and hit paste. So my entire URL, oh, and delete this extra slash over here. Let me make this bigger so you can see. Okay, so take a look at this URL at the top. The only thing I've changed is I've pasted my instance of n8n, my unique endpoint at the front, and I'm deleting this extra slash, make sure that's not there. And I'm keeping the rest of it the same. So this is carrying the unique key. And then I'm gonna hit enter and voila, my connection is successful. I can go back to n8n and I can see that my account is successfully connected. And voila, we have successfully connected our Google account. So now we can go back and finish the rest of the agents tutorial. Oop, looks like we missed something here. I'm gonna double click it and oh, we still need to fill in this bit. So it wants me to select a calendar. I'm gonna choose my own and hit execute step. And that worked, that was successful, awesome. So now we're back with the agents and we have set up all that we need to set. We can send a message, we have an LLM model, we have a memory, and we have a tool that we can trigger. So continuing with the rest of the tutorial, it's asking us to click the button next to after and before. So let's try that. I'm double clicking on the calendar module and I'm clicking this start button next to before and after. I'm clicking execute step. I'm gonna come back to the guide and say I'm done. Cool, so the agent's asking if you'd like me to check all the events in your calendar for tomorrow. Obviously, I'm gonna say yes. Yes, I would love that. The agent appears to be running using the inputs the day before and the day after. Wow, it looks like it returned every single event I have for tomorrow and it is accurate. I think that concludes the AI agent tutorial. So where do we go from here? How can you make this functional for yourself? Now you should have an understanding of the basics of an AI agent, what it comprises of, how you can give it tools, and how can you enable it. The next step, though, you can expand upon this build with additional tools. You can drag this calendar module aside and then give it additional tools over here. So there's more things you can do. If you give it like an HTTP tool and then in the chat, ask it to run this API call or give it some kind of name, it should know to run that tool and come back with a response. In addition to that, this in itself is already a complete build. You can have a fully functional personal agent over here. But if you wanted that agent to connect to another flow, let's say to log its answers or to email its answers to you, you can also add an additional task here. You can give it an action, data transformation, you can give it a human so it won't do the next step unless a human gives it proper approval at this step. If you were to turn this into an automation tool, rather than, you could just adjust the trigger. Rather than like every time a chat message is received, you can actually create a trigger like a timer. So let me show you something really cool. Okay, so far in this build, this is a chat agent. It is only triggered when you send it a message. If you wanted to build a business automation tool, most of the time you may have like other types of triggers. For example, you wanted to run every hour or every 12 hours. In that case, you would set a timer. How you would do that is hit the plus button on the top right and then type in timer. And then the first thing that will show up is called schedule trigger. Here you can set the intervals, like do you want it to run every day at midnight or do you want it to run every second or every hour? So I'm going to set it to hours and set this to 6. So what I've done here is I've created this trigger, which is set to run every 6 hours. That's the rule. And then I can actually connect this to the agent or to some tooling, whatever it may be, it will just start running. This is generally the basics of how to create a business automation tool using n8n. All right, so that's all we have for today. We hope you enjoyed that tutorial. In the next one, we're going to be taking this n8n and then we're going to build a business automation tool, not from scratch, but taking all of the shortcuts to get there. So let me show you how to do it. Follow us on Twitter, build on NodeOps, and we'll see you in the next one.